I'm Thorin, also known as the Esports Historian, and I wanted to show you a new feature that they implemented this year on the Esportsbet website, which is outright odds for entire tournaments. So you can pick who is going to win the tournament, and they give you different odds from the beginning of the competition. Now, of course, this is going to be for Esportsbet, one of my partners, and they are the industry's leading crypto odds matrix. Right now, they are running their World's Prediction Series 2 competition. If you want to enter a free-to-enter massive tournament with 10 million USDT prize pool, 300,000 USDT first place. You can get 50,000 DJT by going to the Discord, discord.gg/esportsbet, messaging the mod mail and saying you're coming for the 50,000 DJT. That'll get you started making predictions, potentially win some big money. If you want to bet real crypto, then deposit your crypto for the first time and you can get 50% bonus on up to 200 USDT. So I'm going to show you this feature here. Of course, you go in, you pick the currency you want to play with on the esports hall, but here's the key thing that's different from what you normally doing now, guys. Instead of going to CSGO and going here and going down and going, right, okay, so look, let's go all the way down. There we go. IEM Intel Extreme Masters Rio, Major 2022. Instead of going there and looking at those results, you're not going to go on a specific game. You're going to scroll all the way to the bottom and there you go outright. It's got a bunch of tournaments here, like Worlds is going on in League of Legends still, TI is almost over. You go down, there's a bunch of other stuff here. You go to Intel Extreme Masters Rio Major 2022 champion, still a couple of days left. You're going to go on to here, and here are all the outright odds. So what we're going to do is we're going to assess which ones of these are worth a little punt. Do I think the odds are right? So at the top here, interesting detail. The people who have the highest odds to the lowest odds to win are actually Na'Vi. It's not as been said. They've already won Blast this year. They haven't won another single tournament. They haven't been the best team at any point in time for my money. They got that little run with SDY in the honeymoon period. They could have won the major, yes, but they lost in epic fashion to FaZe. They could have won Cologne. They lost in epic fashion a best of 5 to FaZe. They've been a team that, yes, are very, very dangerous. They got simple. Everyone's thinking with his form back, now he met his mom again, that they're just going to blast through this major. FaZe just looked a bit ropey at Pro League, didn't they? What's going on? Vitality maybe has a few cracks shown, even though they were able to win Pro League themselves. Like, I understand why Na'Vi's the favourite. Put it this one, you've got someone like Simple and you've got the fraggers Na'Vi do. Betting wise, there's a reason why they keep getting made the favourite. They were the favourite for the major final. They were the favourite for IEM Cologne final. That's why I got to bet on the underdog FaZe, and I won and even made videos saying on the Esportsbet Twitter, I'm betting on FaZe. I think they're going to win. So I think it's actually quite fair that they're their favourite. 5.55 ain't too bad, actually, in terms of to bet on them to win the major. I know they haven't won a tournament this year, but spoiler, everyone except FaZe has only won one, basically. So I actually think that's pretty decent. If you really think Simple frags out and the rest of the players to get it together and Blade's got it, I think they are a pretty legit one to have as a favourite. But as a result, I love FaZe Clan at 6.666 now. Don't really love that number, but whatever. Who knows why Pure Evil is now represented by FaZe Clan. But listen, I mean, I guess it's an org. It sort of fits, right? I think they're going to win the major. They're still the team I'll bet on. Under the most pressure, they've come up smelling like roses every single time in 2022. I know that, yes, there's the pressure of it being the Grand Slam as well, and they're supposed to go back to back, and this is for the era. Yeah, we know all that, but if there's one team that's shown they can do it, just like Classic 2015 Fnatic, just like Astralis 2018, these are the teams that could bear the greatest weights of all time and do the biggest feats possible. I think FaZe Clan is a team like that. Now, they don't have the lockdown superstar like a Simple as Ziwu. I don't even think they have a player like as consistently as good as Device was back in the day, or maybe even Nico when he was in FaZe and G2 now. But at the same time, they've just got such a bevy of talents. There are no bad players in this team. People like Rain can even overperform at the big tournaments. Carrigan just has the killer mindset at this point in time of like, I'm going out on my shield. I've lost that many times. So I think actually they're the favourite for the major for me. And so 6.66, I actually love those odds. In fact, I'm going to go right now and I'm going to take those odds and I'm going to do a nice little one. I'll put a little 500 on. We'll say 500, I would win 3,333 USDT. I'll actually say I'm going to place that bet. There you go. Now, beyond that, You've got Vitality as the third team, 7.142. I think that's also not bad. I'm not a huge fan of those odds. I would like the odds to be a bit higher, like maybe 10 or something, and then I might take a flyer on a Vitality. I do think, actually, Vitality is the third most likely team to win. They look the most complete. Spinks is still being worked on the line. They haven't even needed him necessarily to win these big matches. Zero looks incredible again. Yes, he hasn't done it really at the majors yet. Zonic, I think, is finally getting the team under control. They're a little bit streaky because of Apex IGL style, but that also, I think, sometimes allows them to win in matches and on maps maybe not supposed to. So I actually do think they're a pretty solid shout to be here. Cloud9 being fourth, I also don't hate that. I think these odds are getting to the point where if you want to take a dark horse, I would say if your dark horse is one of these three, Vitality, Cloud9 or Team Liquid, I actually think these are odds worth potentially betting on. These are dark horses that can win the major. Team Liquid less so, but the odds make it maybe worth it in that case. So Cloud9, look, they're the real dark horse in my opinion. I think Vitality is just the third favourite to win the whole tournament. I think that Cloud9 is the true dark horse. They have the skill to do it. They have the players to do it. They just have to show us, can they actually do it on a big stage, at a major, with all the pressure? Thus far, they have not been able to prove as much. IEM Dallas was a much smaller tournament. It was right after the major. You don't really give a fuck. And you didn't exactly beat all the top teams in top form. I think they can do it. I just wouldn't bet on them to do it. But I don't think the odds are that bad. 8.33. I think they're so dangerous. There's a world where they could win it. Much like VP won EMS won Katowice 2014. And look dominant doing it. And everyone will say, oh, you fool. Everyone should have known how good they are. Because that's what people are like. So I think this is not a bad one to do either. I think the heroic one, stay away from this. Of the two teams, there's a reason I didn't bail on Cloud9/Gambit, and I have bailed on Heroic. I don't care about Yabi is the move. That hasn't even been much of an upgrade. It's been a side grade, if anything. So I don't think this team can do it. Cadian's Orpin can't hold up. His IGLing maybe can, but then I think in terms of raw firepower and superstar potential, they lack as a team. Stown has not shown me he is a true superstar who can take the game over and win me massive series. All in all, they've just been way too fragile mentally in these scenarios. Yeah, they get through the Swiss systems. Yeah, they might get to the quarters and maybe even win a series. You would bet against them in the semis. They're the new Astralis in that regard, the new TSM. They're the team that maybe could win. They have the pieces maybe to win, but everything has to go perfect for them. It's not as much choking. I think they just have to walk the tightrope and have every element of the game go correctly. They have the map pool. They sometimes have the nous to do it. I don't think they can fill out the other metric stone, especially not with some of the other teams ahead of them. And that price, I think, is a trap. 9.090. I just don't buy it. Like, they're worse odds than that, in my opinion. Then I go down, like I said, on Team Liquid. It's just I don't believe they can win it. That's the problem. The team's not bad. They could get a nice bracket and maybe do a semis run. Even then, maybe I'd probably have them going out in the quarters or maybe just missing out and even making playoffs. Ents, unfortunately, is another trap. Look, the odds are crazy. But the thing is, they haven't worked out like the team I hoped they would be. They haven't been able to get Valde online properly. Dika still looks really good. I think Madden's shown some good signs. Snappy himself is legit. Something about the chemistry of the team hasn't clicked yet. And they have also shown some mental frailty at times, in my opinion. So I think that's a trap. Stay away from that. NIP at 14.285 is a crazy dark horse, but I like these odds. I'll tell you what, there is an outside chance, just like I have Cloud9 as a true dark horse, and Team Liquid is like the next dark horse. This would be my third dark horse. I actually think there's a world where Nip under Alexi B, with the fragging power of Brolan, and that particular lineup of players they've got, and Hampers playing out of his mind, Esatag looking comfy, just a supportive element. I think there's actually a crazy world where, even though it'd be like Gambit winning the major, it could happen. I actually trusted Alexi B in that regard. And I think they're a team with an outside chance to make the playoffs. And once you make the playoffs, hey, let's see how they hold up under pressure on stage. I don't know. Some of these guys are probably ready, like the Hampsters, they want to graduate into a big stage match and pop off. And I know Alexi B's already done it at majors in the past. Then you've got Furia. I think this is a trap at 14.285. They actually have a bunch of really good pieces in the team. They've never got it all working together in the safe era. Art's IGL style looks a bit whack and he individually's dropped off. Even Yuri hasn't looked that good this year. Keserato can be a monster. The problem is it's raw firepower that gets them over the line. That doesn't always turn up, and they've yet to really do it in the playoffs of a major. So I'm saying go against that. I actually don't take them as much of a dark horse to do it. Mouse, I think that's another trap. The odds are way too low there for me. I'd want those to be like 25 if you want to take a punt on Mouse. I also don't think they can do it on LAN yet. They've just shown me they fail when it gets to the big game. OG has some canny firepower. I don't think the odds are still high enough for this. They're not going to be winning the major. Come on, I think that's ridiculous. Fnatic, if you want a really crazy outlier, if you want to go with 20 odds, then yeah, you know what? There's a crazy world where Fnatic can cause a lot of upsets here. The problem is, can they win the major with people like Roy and Crims as their best players? I don't think so. Can Messi win the major as a rookie IGL? Like, this just seems way too implausible. Team spirit, I know the wonderful factor's been cool. I know Patsy's legit. I don't believe in Chopper as an IGL. I don't think they're going to do as well as they did at the last major. So I want these odds to be higher if you're taking spirit. If you want to go really crazy, then yeah, you know what? 25 odds for outsiders. There is, again, could I ever conceive that outsiders could win the major? As a crazy outsider, an outside bet, an unlikely scenario. Yeah, I actually think it could happen. Like, the team has, in theory, elements that could make it happen. Flick can frag out and be a MVP candidate. James can control the game, and his style of open and style of calling is really tough to play against. Yeah, they've got the whole factor where you look at the rest of the squad. Fame, suddenly come along and become a player you wouldn't expect to be good out of nowhere, but he's never been at a big major like this. That's the problem. Will they hold up under the major? I think they're more like a team in the second Swiss system that just upsets some people, causing problems, maybe makes quarters. But if you really wanted to take a massive odds punt, like what put, I don't know, $10 on it or so, 10 USDT, then maybe that's like a crazy team you take. Sprout, it ain't happening. Big, look, the firepower just isn't there and the map pool's whack. Imperial, are you out of your mind? I don't even think 50 to what. That makes me wonder if that's like bait to get a lot of Brazilian fans in. I think they should be like 100 to 1 or something. There's no universe they can win this major. You go down, you've got 0-0 Nation, actually a canny set of players, but you know, we're getting the crazy odds, and I can't advise anyone bet on this. Evil Geniuses, save your money. That's a trap and a half. Gamer Legion, they're just too young. Like, there's some players there could do way better than you expect, but I'd probably say against them. I've never been a fan of Bad News Eagle. And 9Z, I don't care that it's 100 to 1 odds. Like, they're just not doing anything. I also think that team, they're the sort of team that just win the odd game when you don't expect them to do anything. When you kind of rely on them and it's be all threes, actually they never really get it over the line. They lose so many close ones, even against good opponents. Like, you just can't really believe in them. So I'm saying, personally, I think the favourite is FaZe. I think beyond that, I don't mind a Na'Vi pick if you believe Na'Vi's going to frag out. If you want to go for outside chances, we're going in this order. Vitality, then you go Cloud9, Vitality even should potentially be considered a favourite. If you think they'll win the major, this is very good odds. As outsiders going Cloud9, we're going Ignore Heroic, we're going Team Liquid maybe, NIP, if you want to get cheeky, keep going down like I say. If you want to get really wild, outsiders is probably your pick. Beyond that, I'm skipping all the rest. I'm not going for any of the crazy 100. There's no one who's at 200 or 250 like Roke was to win like from whatever it was, like when they were in the round of 8 or something ridiculous. So yeah, there's who I'm taking at Esportsbet. By the way, did you know Esportsbet will do bet forgiveness? That's another bonus they have for your first time ever deposit. If you bet up to 100 USDT and you lose in your first instance, then message the mod mill, discord.gg/esportsbet, and say that Thorin sent you, and they will credit your account back up to 100 USDT, whatever amount you bet, if you lose the bet. So this would be a great time to do it. Imagine you're a fan of Outsiders or Team Liquid or NIP. This is where, if you put the bet on there, if you win, you're getting a crazy multiplier. If you lose, you get the up to 100 USDT back. Perfect time to use it, right? Shout out to Esportsbet. Who do you have winning the major?